Normally, the first thing you say is an indication of what the audience should expect. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just say hello to your neighbor. Say hello on the left and the right. Yeah. At least get to know their first name and what it is that they do. Okay, as you do that, I have been requested that we need to start off. And primarily because many a time we let the latecomers keep the early arrivals waiting. It's not very fair. I think we should recognize the fact that you appreciated matters of time and you're here. So it is only fair that we start off our day. And we'll start off with the usual protocols. Shortly, we'll share with you the program for the day on the screen. But I'd like us to start off with the usual formalities. We're going to have the anthems, and then we'll have a short prayer, and thereafter I'll come back to guide you on how we proceed with the rest of the day. So if we may, please be upstanding for the anthems.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Ibakamino yego twesingenyo, oraina ifono kusoka chibumba yetu wo. Orechi hagechi chikolote imenga, usoka tebekerengo, ensenese. Tuibakamino yego twesingenyo, oraina ifono kusoka chibumba yetu wo.
May we please be upstanding for a word of prayer, and I'd like to request Grace to say a short prayer for us.
Let's humble ourselves and pray. Almighty God, we want to give you thanks. We give you glory for this day. We thank you, Lord, for our lives. We thank you, Lord, for the journey mercies. We thank you, Lord, for putting us here together to discuss. Father, Lord, we want to commit this meeting in your hands, and we pray that you will come and guide us through the discussions, O Lord, my Master. We pray that, Lord, whatever we discuss from here, Lord, shall be able to change our institutions, shall be able to change our lives, and be better in each and everything that we do. Father, we want to give you glory, we want to give you honor for everything, and we pray that you will take us through the day successfully, and we give all the glory and honor back to you. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
All right. Thank you again for joining us on this day. I would like to, at a very early stage and in my small capacity, to welcome all of you. Now, as we come here today, we are very cognizant of the fact that only a few days ago, we lost one of our very senior citizens in the person of Honorable Henry Chemba. And I think it is only in order that while we're here, we commiserate with the family and the friends. But as a nation, I would like to request that we also join in observing a moment of silence in his honor. And it would be nice to do it standing. We beseech the Almighty to bless his soul eternally. Amen. Thank you very much for coming. Let me start off with a few basic housekeeping issues. First and foremost, the phones. If you haven't, it would be nice to put them on silent. Some of your ringtones can make someone with heart problems have issues. So it would be courteous to have that. Secondly, we have done everything humanly possible to ensure that while we're here, we're very secure. And to that end, I'd like to request that despite what we have done, it is also a personal responsibility to ensure that you're conscious about your security. Because when people gather like this, while we gather and we have prayed for God to protect us, Lucifer is also on duty. And we do not want a scenario of a phone changing ownership without your permission. What you guys commonly call stealing. I hope it doesn't happen. You don't look the type. But you can never take anything for chance. So I'd like to request that we be each other's keeper and ensure that we live as happily as we have come. In case it becomes necessary, and God forbid, that you may need some basic support health-wise, you never know what may happen. My team is here. Kindly let us know. We will make quick arrangements with the hotel management for basic first aid or something like that to ensure that we are all in good shape. We are located here deliberately. One, because the hall is larger to give us sufficient aeration. But it was also deliberate. You know, when you're up here, I'm sure you saw how you struggled climbing up, isn't it? The intention is so that the frequency of your going back down is minimized. And therefore, we can keep all of you in the room. But there is one situation that does not care how high you have gone, and that is when the call of nature comes. That is the only call that doesn't need network. It doesn't need anything. If it has come, you must answer. And should that happen, then you can go downstairs. The places of convenience are all at the lower level. And of course, on a day like this, it would be our desire that as part of what I would want to call our housekeeping engagements, we'd like to request that this interaction should really be as active as possible, because we would want to get as much information and feedback from you. Speaking of engagement, mine is to set the tone of why are we here? Now, this is one of the platforms that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda uses to engage with the members of the public. We call it our board town hall engagement. This is supposed to be a town hall meeting. And a town hall meeting by its nature is an opportunity for information to be shared and feedback to be received. So amidst us today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a cross-section of those of you from the public sector, but most importantly also, I'd like to recognize in a special way, and soon we'll get there as I go into the introductions, the categories of people who have joined us here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teddy Namuga, and I work with the Bank of Uganda.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Isaac Isanga from Finance Trust Bank.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lilian Hasasha, Yuga Ford Microfinance. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Shafi Nambobi, Chief Executive Officer for Yuga Ford. I'm glad to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dennis Bariranda. Branch Manager, Bank of Uganda, Jinja.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Robert Balinda, representing Bank of Africa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Deven Kumar Sharma from Bank of India, Uganda Limited.
Good morning. I'm Grace Akumu from Standard Chartered Bank, Uganda Limited.
Very good morning to all. My name is Caroline Akisa from Standard Chartered Bank. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Bridget Mary Nashmira, Cairo Bank, Uganda Limited.
Good morning to you all. I think my voice is similar to his. My name is Christine Birungi. I work with Cairo Bank, Uganda. Nice meeting you all.
Sometimes we are told when depositors have challenges, they come to your branches. Getting you is a problem. So today we have brought you to meet them. Now, if you're here and you did not hear your bank's name, use that information. I'm now honored to shift this side just for one line because among us, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very high-powered delegation from the office of His Highness, the Chabazinga. And this is the delegation here. I'd like to request that let our people know who is here in this audience today. Thank you.
You will excuse me for jumping. His Royal Highness, because in our culture, I'm supposed to introduce him. My name is Munaba Edward Paul, the Minister General Duties in the Prime Minister's Office, Busoga Kingdom. We have a delegation of 6 people, and on my right is His Royal Highness Samuel Nkutu Zirabamzale, the Chief Prince of Busoga Kingdom. And when he's here, the Chabazinga is with you. On the second note, I would like to thank DFP, though it's not yet time, but because I've seen a good number of financial institutions for the first time. Most of them I know, but some I don't know. And I want to pass this, that as you very well know, in 2-3 weeks' time, we are having a royal wedding. So please, from here, see me. Thank you very much.
In the right place, with the right leadership. Now you understand why I had to let them introduce themselves. The protocol I know is the usual one of ours. When it goes to cultural matters, you can scandalize yourself. So it is better that they handle the protocol issues. And as you have noticed, the Chabazinga waves, it doesn't stand anyhow. Currently, it's focused on matters of marriage, so, you know. But it's really an honor for us to have you in our midst. I also know that amidst us, ladies and gentlemen, we have the whole crew of our police officers who are at the back. May I request that you kindly let the audience know, because you have honored our invitation. There's a mic right next to you there.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm audible now. I am Senior Superintendent of Police Muzira Andrew, Human Resource Officer, Kira Region, based in Jinja. Glad to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Superintendent of Police, Nampija Agnes, Regional Child and Family Officer, Kira.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Superintendent of Police, Ofono James. I'm the Regional League Officer, Chira Region.
Good morning, everyone. I'm ASP Willa Andrew. I'm the Zonal Commander, Oil and Gas.
Thank you very much for joining us, because in many ways, what we do as a government agency, we also feel that the people in the forces need to be informed. Actually, my chairperson, I am now thinking we may have to have a deliberate program to interface especially with the forces in terms of creating awareness, because we don't take these things for granted. Our primary role as the DPF is to enable you to have confidence so that the financial sector is stable, and we cannot sectionalize the population. Everybody really needs to have this information, and that is why we are primarily here. Having wrapped up with the session of introductions, I'd now like to move to the formal part of where we should be going. First and foremost is going to be an official and formal welcome remark from Director Roy, who is going to set the tone. And Madam Director, I would there request that after your remarks, you kindly invite the chairperson of the board to come and make his comments. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roy Nambogo. I am a board member of Deposit Protection Fund. The acronym is DPF. Sometimes in those years when we had just started, we were about 6 years old. They used to call us UPDF. But we are getting with the program. But the acronym is DPF. And we are very humbled that you've graced this maiden board town hall engagement today. We thank you so much for sparing time to come for this occasion. During the introductions, I had some names that are quite familiar, and we thank you all in your various capacities. To the officials from the Busoga Kingdom, I don't want to disgrace myself, but we also join you in celebrating the milestone that the entire Kingdom of Busoga and the country at large has achieved by identifying a suitable queen for the kingdom. I think that deserves a round of applause. I am told the process that goes into that is not easy. So, ladies and gentlemen, the protocol that we were given, that is going to be observed, is we will recognize the members of parliament or their representatives, the officials from the office of His Highness Chabazinga of Busoga, the resident city commissioner or his representative, His Worship, the mayor or his representative, the local government leaders or their representative, the religious leaders, the civil society leaders, members of DPF board and management, the media fraternity, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all. This is the maiden board engagement where we want to touch base with the role of public awareness by the DPF. When the law was passed that sets up DPF, public awareness is one of those roles that was anchored in the law. At the time, and by the very nature of deposit insurance, it was envisaged that the stakeholders, that is the financial institutions, the public, government, should be aware about the cardinal role of deposit insurance in ensuring financial sector stability. Now, in most cases, deposit insurance is a new phenomenon that most of us got to know about when the financial crisis started way back in 2007 or 2006, thereabout. So somebody may ask why deposit insurance, but the key anchor is financial sector stability. So the fund, or DPF, is the only agency in Uganda that is mandated to ensure that it protects depositors in the event that a financial institution is closed. Now, I do not want to burst the presentation of my board chairman, so it is my profound honor right now to invite the board chairman, who is going to distill the role of DPF and the importance of deposit insurance, and why we want to touch base in such a setting with the stakeholders, so that in making up with the principle of snowballing, when you go back, you're able to cascade down to your respective entities or subscribers or members what DPF is about, and in that way you'll also be plugging into the role of ensuring that the financial sector continues to remain stable. Thank you very much. So it is my profound honor to invite Mr. Patrick Kagoro to address you and make his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Roy. In Nigeria, there are very many important people. And when they gather in a room like this, it may take an hour to recognize all the distinguished personalities. So they had a way of going around it. And the phrase is, all protocol observed. But I'm not going to observe that protocol like they say. Definitely, I do recognize all the members present here. Among us are people who are highly distinguished. As you heard, we have the officials from His Highness, the Chabazinga of Busoga. The Prince, I welcome you, sir, and I honor you. I do recognize your presence, that you've taken time off to come and be with us. Learning never stops. Thank you very much. Members of Parliament, Worship the Mayor is supposed to be, His Worship the Mayor is supposed to be here. And our bankers from all the financial institutions, thank you very much for setting time aside to come and be with us. I was talking to a few friends who are bankers, and they were asking me, what exactly do you do? I had to go through the motion of explaining. But we are now almost 7 years. Most of the bankers know exactly why we exist. If you listen to radios, when they're advertising a bank or a bank is talking about itself, they always end with your deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. I also do recognize the highly decorated officers of the Uganda Police Force. Thank you very much for coming to be with us. I wish you had sat among the people so that you explain exactly what you do also. But thank you very much. When I see your peeps, I say, I wish I could grow young again, or in the next life, I want to be as smart as you. Thank you very much for representing us and looking after our security. Basebo na banyabo, Minister wa Finance, Mukulu Mati Akasaida, abalamwisize ino. Era yanko bienti, abenda ino. Mwasuze muti abanaife. Tusangaire ino kubabona. Era bwe balo kuyida mu bwingi bwe muti. Kodeyo. Baliyo. Ndi musanufu no. okubanga naawo. I first came to Jinja in 1970. My uncle used to work at the On Falls Dam, and I used to visit the On Falls Dam. We used to walk along the dam down there. Jinja, for you who were born in the 90s, in the 80s, and 2000, Jinja was extremely beautiful. And it was extremely beautiful. What I remember is they had very good street roads. The roads were straight, clean, very well decorated. They were swept every day. We had a very beautiful golf course before it was carved off in 1975 to make a showground. All the roads, there was no single pothole. We used to ride bicycles all over the place. There were many flowers. There was East African community. We used to have East African Airways. People used to come from Tanzania, Kenya, on Fridays by East African Airways, drive down to Jinja, and the people from Kampala. There were many nightclubs here. And people used to have fun till Sunday evening, and they would go back to their respective places. We would stand, as you come in or wherever you are, you would see smoke rising from chimneys. I don't see it now. I don't know what happened. There was Nyanza Textile Industries. We used to call Natil. It was called Natil. There was Muliko. There were quite a number of factories. And then there was a famous hotel, Crane. I hope it still exists. But Crested Crane. I looked there. The entrance is not what it used to be. I asked the Chabazinga, please, let's go back to, Then there was another one called Ripon Falls. Does it still exist? It doesn't. Oh dear. Okay. But we'll get back slowly, slowly. I see a lot of developments taking place, which is very good. I'm sure Jinja will go back to the glory it used to be. Now, I'm privileged, or I was privileged in 2017 when I was called upon that I should become the chairman of the board of the Deposit Protection Fund. I was definitely in my retirement. I retired in 2015 from the Central Bank of Uganda when I had reached the apex of my career. And interestingly, in 1993, there was the Bank of Uganda Act, which explained what the role of Bank of Uganda does. Within that section, within the sections, there was one setting up the Deposit Protection Fund. And I happened to be again the first to open the account in the bank and also to start investing the funds that were being contributed by the financial institutions. Yeah. So I will give you the background of the Deposit Protection Fund and where we stand now. Okay, why deposit protection? Way back in the 1930s, in the Americas, there was a Great Depression, especially after the First World War. And the depositors lost quite a bit of money. And the government then thought it wise, using the Federal Reserve Bank, to set up a deposit protection fund, which they called the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, to protect the depositors in the event that the banks fail. When the banks fail, those days you'd lose all your money, all your deposits. We can't go into the history of how banking started, but it's a very interesting bit. You can go to Google and learn how banking started. It's a very interesting story, which all of you must know, especially you bankers. Not only the bankers, but all of us should know. Then there was another big institution which was formed called the IADI, the International Deposit Insurance Association, or the International Association of Deposit Insurers, which set the pace. There was CPA Kakungulu. Is Kakungulu? CPA. I know you know what governs you or what guides you. What is it? IFRSs. So the IFRSs are your guiding principles. That's what you look at. The lawyers, like Roy here, and there's the other Inspector General also is a lawyer, I think. You're a lawyer, I'm sure. Aha. You follow the law books. Not even management. You don't even follow logic. But you have the laws which you abide by. So the deposit insurers, the IADI, the Association of Deposit Insurers, set up rules, guiding principles. They call them principles, 16 of them core principles, which we abide by and which we subscribe to. One of them, Director Roy mentioned, is public awareness. And that's why we're here. Now, we try to follow them as much as possible. Okay? You saw why the deposit insurers or the deposit insurance gained ground, especially during the crisis of 2007, 2008 around the world. We are also affected heavily here. The World Bank, together with other bodies, of course, discussed with the government of Uganda, they said there must be an independent deposit protection fund in Uganda and should be separate from the central bank. As I told you, it was a section or a unit within the central bank in finance department together with supervision managing it. That was not enough. So it was agreed that it should be independent, run independently with a separate board, and be able to carry out their mandate as stipulated in the slides, as you'll see later. So the minister said you need to operationalize the fund, set it up, and run it. What did we do? We had no staff. We didn't have anybody. We were just given the board, me as the chair, and 6 others. What did I do? I went to the central bank, requested for staff, and 11 staff came over to operationalize the fund as guided by the World Bank expatriates who were experts in deposit insurance. And I'm glad we got an iron lady in the names of in the names of Julia Claire Olima Oyet. Please stand up again. There she is. You see how you think she's soft, but she's tough and very assertive. Like the Basoga ladies can be very assertive. So she's also very assertive, and that is why we are where we are currently, because she has implemented what we laid out to do exactly. So what do we do exactly if we go to our mission and vision? The acronym is RIGHT. We stand for integrity, transparency, and excellence. Our main mission really is to foster public confidence through protection of depositors of the regulated, who bank with the regulated financial institutions. Our vision, don't know whether we'll achieve it, but I believe we are going to achieve it, that excellence in deposit protection for financial sector stability. And we want to be a center of excellence where other African countries who have not yet started their deposit protection can come and study. We already have quite a number who are benchmarking with us, and they are also setting up their deposit protections. Now, why deposit protection? Julia normally says the role is to protect the unsophisticated depositors. Who are the unsophisticated depositors? Maybe not you and me, not you, the bankers. There are quite a number of people who keep money under their mattresses or in pots buried in the ground because they don't trust the banks. Because there's a time in 1990, 1998, when the Cooperative Society Bank collapsed, Cooperative Bank collapsed, it was closed, Tefe was closed, Trust Bank was closed, International Credit Bank was closed, and then the mighty Greenland Bank. So there was mistrust. And at that time, there was only 3 million which was protected. And they happened to be at the core of it, paying the people up to 3 million shillings. But later on, the government decided, okay, no, it is not fair. All these banks have closed, we have a crisis. I think we need to pay people all their deposits. There was an outcry. So the government lent us, or the Deposit Protection Fund then in the central bank, they lent us some money. It was, remember, 98 billion Uganda shillings, and all the depositors were paid. Now, since that time, yeah, clap again, yes, to the government, not us. The government paid everybody. Now, we have currently, when we started, we had about 7 million? 7 million accounts? Yes. We had 7 million accounts, banked, the banked population. Currently, it is 24 million accounts, people who are banking with the banks. That's a very big jump. It's through education and public awareness like this that people come and bank with the banks. Now, listen to this. 98% of those depositors are protected. 98%. So we have 23 million people, or 23 million accounts, which are below 10 million Uganda shillings. We have maybe close to 500,000 people who have deposits above 500, above 10 million Uganda shillings. That is why we are so keen on protecting the unsophisticated depositors, people with less than 10 million. And definitely when in 1994, at that point in time, the protected deposits were 3 million shillings. If you had 10 million, when the bank closed, you'd get 3 million. As I said, later on the government lent us money and we paid everybody. Now, when we took over, we realized that 3 million is very little money, extremely small, it's a very small amount. We revised it to 10 million Uganda shillings. And the minister was very supportive. We had to go to parliament and request for that change. But when you look at 10 million and you go back to 1993-94, 3 million shillings then was equivalent to $1,000 because the rate of the dollar was about 1,000 shillings per dollar. Currently, how much is the dollar? So effectively, we have maintained the value. But management and the board, again, are looking into it to see whether we can revise this so that we protect more people. But given that less than 24 million or 23 million people are protected, or accounts are protected, maybe it may not be necessary to revise that. But we have to keep revising that so that many people are banked and they join. Sorry, my phone keeps freezing and I can't keep turning the other way. Sorry. Okay. Okay, there is the law. I think you showed the law, did you? The 2004 and 2006. Did you? I think you read it on your own. I just want to tell you stories of what happened. But of course, the lawyers will say, where do you derive your authority from? We derive the authority from the law 2004. We also, then there was another one, 2016, which changed the Financial Institutions Act. We have about 3 sections there, but it's not adequate. Currently, we are working on our own law, which is quite elaborate, so that we are completely independent. Now, when we set up the board, we strictly followed the principles as laid down by the core principles under corporate governance of Uganda. And we formed board structures. Within the board, we have a technical committee which looks at all the technical issues, and this is headed by the representative from the bankers, Uganda Bankers Association, who is Mr. Wilbrod Owol, very highly technical, having worked from a junior officer in the banks up to executive director level before he was appointed to become the chief executive officer of Uganda Bankers Association. Then we have the governance committee headed by our legal team, our legal lawyer, our legal person, legal mind, Roy Nambogo. And we also have a representative from Ministry of Finance, John Vyarhanga. John Vyarhanga heads the audit committee of the board, which keeps us in check. Then I had somebody saying, what did you call pride, madam? Eh? You said the leading bank. The leading microfinance. Okay, you know Mr. Barra? Mr. Barra worked there some time back, but he's your representative. He's in charge of investments and finance. Very, very, very well educated in the areas of microfinance. And then I had somebody calling himself Muamvu. Stand up again, please. Okay. From now on, my name is also Muamvu. That's very good. Which bank are you with? DFCU. EFC, Uganda Limited. That's almost DFCU. Eh? They are taking your bank away. Okay, then we have the executive team. I think the CEO will introduce the team, and those were introduced. What I can say is they have done a wonderful job, and they deserve a clap. Starting from nothing to where we are. Now, what do we do? Where do we get our financing from? One is, the law provides that the members, that is the financial institutions and the credit-taking institutions and the micro-deposit-taking institutions, contribute about 0.2% of the annual weighted average deposits of the previous year into the fund. So the bigger the bank, the more the contributions. So currently we have 33 members, 25 commercial banks, 4 credit institutions, and the MDIs are also 4. I talked about the 10 million already, okay? And I've already talked about the 98%. I moved very fast ahead of time. Now, what do we do with this money? Okay? If you look at the funding and asset structure, what is contributed to the fund are called premiums. We call them premiums. They come in like last year alone, we had 68 billion coming in from all the financial institutions. What do we do with this money? We invest it, we lend it to government, and we multiply it. Last year alone, the other year we made a profit or interest of 168 billion Uganda shillings. This time we made about 230 billion Uganda shillings. It's out of this 230 that we are able to run the affairs of the Deposit Protection Fund. And we set a rule or a benchmark that we should not spend 25% of the interest we have earned in administrative activities. But currently, we stand at 10% of what we earn to run the affairs of the fund. That includes hiring the premises, although the minister is really telling us that we should build our own structure, but we also contribute the economy by paying rent. That's what we do. Okay? We've been investing in government securities. Now we want to diversify, have a wider portfolio, and maybe even go external where we see there's money, just like NSSF does. Definitely we will not go into buildings. What do we take home? What we take home is that we don't handle customer complaints, although we take note that all depositors of contributing institutions are regulated by BOU. The depositors are protected. Okay? Remember that there is 10 million which is guaranteed in the unlikely event of a bank failing. But the trend has now been that purchase and assumption, if you are not up to scratch, maybe another able bank takes you over and takes over all the customers, and you don't feel the pinch in any way. Are dollar accounts protected? Yes, if you convert them into Uganda shillings. Okay? The other issue which we need to know is, Julia maybe will be telling you about the importance of having national IDs. The importance of having national IDs is to link our database with NIRA, so that somebody else cannot come and take your money. As you have heard, I'm sure, especially you bankers, unclaimed deposits. Over the years, it is in trillions. How much is it currently? Trillion. Yeah? 190, over 190 billion unclaimed deposits. Now, if people don't, some people die, some people forget that they have money in the bank, and eventually maybe the government will take it if you don't come for it. Then you need to know about foreigners who don't have accounts. Their passports are good enough. Then we have joint account holders. Definitely you will need their national IDs. You need to know your customers, and the banks insist on that seriously. The company accounts, you have to be registered with Uganda Registration Services Bureau or the relevant government body, which is incorporated by law. And the signatories also should be clear and people in good standing. Where are we located? We are located at our house, 3rd floor, near the Italian embassy. The Italian embassy has never changed. So if you can visit us, I'm sure, although we don't listen to complaints, but you can always come and learn more, especially the banking fraternity. You can always come and ask questions, because we want you to be our ambassadors to explain to the people that their deposits are protected so that they can comfortably bank with you. So what do we say? We discourage when there is a rumor. There was a rumor recently about one bank, and they wanted people, I think, to either sabotage or what, I don't know, to go and withdraw their money. But it is not necessary. You don't have to panic to go and withdraw the money. If a bank fails, we are here. We are ready to pay you. You lose nothing, because your deposits are protected. You should never rush. And I must emphasize that the sophisticated people, and we want you to go out there and educate the masses, the sophisticated people who are over 10 million know exactly what to do. If a bank was to close, they already know. If there is an ailing institution, there is a way you come to know. Our biggest enemy is the social media. If a rumor started, it can cause problems. Just a mere rumor, even when it is not true. So we have to be wary of the social media, and we have to find a way of interacting and responding very fast, real time, so that we don't create a crisis. But still, if a crisis comes, we'll manage it. That's what we are here for. I thank you very much. Nsangaire ino. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for enlightening this crop of very exposed citizens. When he mentioned social media, I don't want to repeat what he said. I recall what Ugandans, you see how they say we play too much. There was a group of guys who just decided to come up with a cabinet reshuffle list. From their kafunda where they were interacting, they cooked up, copied, I think, an old one. Now imagine you are a minister and there is information circulating that you have been dropped. You can collapse from something that started in a kafunda. Social media. But ladies and gentlemen, I think Chair has set the tone for us. This is how we would like to proceed. I know you have lots of inquiries and questions, and that is precisely why we're having this interaction. One of the other things that we also would like to request is that the information you're getting should be transferred to the others. You become a knowledgeable person so that the next person to you should get to know that their deposits are protected. Many a time, some of you have this information, but even the spouse is green about what DPF does. We have been baptized anything from UPDF to PDF. It just keeps swinging depending on what comes first. We are DPF. And as Chair mentioned, I think the word protection, deposit protection fund, this word is literally interpreted to mean we are there to guard. So depositors run to us to say, but you guys are doing, there's a bank, my money is getting lost. Why aren't you protecting? But as Chair mentioned, there is an interface. We don't necessarily engage directly with depositors. We work through these people in front here. So it is important for this information to be shared. Now, as I said, we would like to engage, but we would like to engage when you're energized. So we need to take a moment for this message to sink while you're sipping on the lovely Ugandan coffee, while you're sipping on the lovely bananas from the Chawazinga's territory. So we'll have a quick break, a tea break, stretch, and so on. Then when we come back after the tea break, that is when we shall now open the floor for all the interactions. But otherwise, it's important for you to know, as Chair mentioned, the structure of deposit insurance globally has the IADI, which is the International Association of Deposit Insurers. At a regional, continental level, we have the ARC, and I think it is a source of pride for us as a country that one of our own, the CEO of DPF, is the first female to hold that position. It's a 3-year thing, I think. The term of office is 3 years, but I can already tell that she's likely to get the second term because the way we started very well. Okay, this is what we do. We have 2 mics. My team will position one on the left side and one on the right-hand side. We would like to receive your comments and your questions, your clarifications. And as I mentioned earlier, our colleagues from the financial sector here, in case some of the questions may really not be DPF questions. They could be issues of general banking and your financial interactions. This team in front is here to support, to give you answers where they can. And if some of the answers are above their pay grade, then you get their contacts and then you follow up, isn't it? Because sometimes you don't want to rise up and make a commitment on behalf of the institution. And then you're called to the boardroom to say, the authority, it came from where? You know these things, eh? Yeah, we are in this sector. All right. There's already a hand up.
You talked about noting some of the complaints from customers, especially with the banks, the way they have interacted with the banks, but you don't intervene in solving complaints of customers. But since the banks are here, I want to direct my question to them. Incidentally, I have not heard anybody from Stanbic Bank, but there are so many teachers that have their accounts with Stanbic Bank and other banks, but have fallen vulnerable because of syndicated messages that try to lure them in getting multiple loans. And they have no protection against that. Immediately they have finished a loan, there are so many calls and messages for microfinance and banks to lure them to take as many
More
loans
loans,
as
yes,
possible.
yes.
And some of these teachers have abandoned their duties because the same microfinance companies are looking for them to clear these loans. And while they are giving them these loans, they don't understand the capacity of some of these teachers to clear these loans within the specified period. And since the Deposit Protection Fund does not have the responsibility to handle individual customers who have complaints about banks luring them, because sometimes you are busy doing some other things and they are calling you several times saying you're eligible, you can get this loan, please come, as if they are going to give you that loan for free. And then once you undertake the loan, the terms change and they are looking for you left and right. So we would like to get some caution on the banks.
Yeah.
If someone has not applied to you to get a loan, why should you make several calls luring this person and then you look for this person as if they are the ones that brought themselves to your bank? That is my concern.
Thank you. I think it's a genuine concern.
My name again is Arthur Mwamvu from EFC. Some people have been calling us DFC, but we are E for elephant, EFC, Entrepreneurs Financial Center. We are not yet here in Jinja, but surely we are coming. Now, I will address both DPF and the public. Starting with the public. We as financial institutions, we thrive on the trust that you, the public, entrust with us. That license from Bank of Uganda is a vote of confidence that we have vetted these guys and they can ably look after your deposits. Many are times when there is a small challenge, you, our partners, don't come to us, but you run to social media. And the challenge with that is that that small action can lead to a closure of a financial institution. Because like what happened recently to Equity Bank and our dear friends of Centenary, they don't call for such incidents, but then we also have the wrong people among the public who are trying to hit on the banks. So when such an incident happens, the public should give time the banks to investigate it properly. No bank vetted by Bank of Uganda is a thief. So the public should be aware of that, and you protect because unknowingly you can lead to the closure of that institution. If everybody wakes up one day to go and collect their their deposits, that institution cannot spend more than a day. It will certainly close. I thought I should mention that. Now, back to DPF. I want to thank you for actually thinking ahead and coming into force, because those days when banks like Greenland Bank closed, it was really a scare. People would run for their cash. But at least now there is a sigh that there is another hand which is protecting the deposits. But you said you don't engage into customer complaints, and that is where my issue is. I know there is a desk within Bank of Uganda which receives customer complaints, but you'll agree with me that more than half of this room has never gone into the door of Bank of Uganda, because Bank of Uganda is perceived to be very far from the public, with all due respect. But now, DPF, by its name, it is on the customer's side. It is there to protect the customer's funds. So, now that the law is under review, it is just my request that probably DPF should reconsider and have a customer complaints desk, because you are perceived to be closer to the people and you are running the agenda of the public. So the mandate of DPF should not wait for the closure of the financial institution, which you rightly said is unlikely. It is unlikely that financial institutions will close. So the mandate should actually look into listening to the customer, so that a customer knows that if I have a problem and the bank is not responsive, I have another body to run to other than social media. 2, these days we've gone digital. Most financial institutions, it is a relatively new way of doing business, but also there are people who sit in their kafundas trying to see, how do I hit Centenary Bank? How do I hit Stanbic? That is their job every day. And we are being hit. Will DPF also maybe in future consider insuring financial institutions against cyber crime? Thank you.
Okay, the questions are, one was really advice to the public. DPF, I think we have taken note. My Commander-in-Chief, the CEO, will deploy who answers what. So, EXCO, let's be on ground as the technical team. I'm sure you could take some yourself directly, CEO. There's a third, yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Owen Mujerwa is my name, DFCU. My appreciation goes to Mr. Ben. I really appreciate the innovation and the movement, the journey that you have really moved with your department. But you mentioned something about the protection, about 3 million moving to 10 million. And by translation, when we looked at the value, it has remained the same. And it also puts us, keeps us in the same position. Don't you think it's a need for you to move that? Because much as we are looking at, you looked at that group of 10 million and below, but it also raises a lot. People are still keeping money in their houses. I remember when I was working with you, we were fighting with these visceras in villages where people were too hesitant, keeping money in the boxes. And you tell them and people will say, no, I know the banks will close. By then we had an experience of these circles closing and they go with people's money. And we still experience the same in the commercial institutions. So my ask would be, could there be a window of shifting this money? Because yes, it is, you have done too much. You have done sufficient.
Shifting or increasing the threshold?
Increasing the threshold.
Okay.
So when you see that advert that your deposits are protected up to 10 million, actually it also brings another fear. If I have 100 million and you're only protecting 10 million, no, should I put 90 million off my account if I hear about a bank closing? So it's my ask that as you're thinking with the Minister of Finance, put that one into consideration.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm also standing on the protocol that has been established, but I'd like to recognize the presence of the Chief Prince of the Busoga Kingdom, all the delegates from the royal family, representatives from the contributing institutions, members from the police force, all ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for honoring our invite and being here on time. The questions are very interesting, and it means that my chairman delivered the message as expected. And so now we come in to give a few answers where we can. The first question was on Bank of Uganda and the complaints management process. Before I come in, maybe I'd like to invite the branch manager of the Jinja Bank of Uganda branch to give us maybe a highlight on Bank of Uganda and handling customer complaints, because the Bank of Uganda could have a strategy on improving on its customer complaint management. But let's first hear from the Bank of Uganda on what strategies are in place to be able to reach the depositors in good time and give them relevant feedback. Over to you, Bank of Uganda, and then I will continue.
That is my name. Unfortunately, my manager has gone to do other duties. He has gone to serve the banks. That can't wait. It can cause a stampede. But I'll give just a brief of how we handle complaints. When a customer has complaints, like how you see social media, and people are saying, why isn't Bank of Uganda coming out to say anything? If someone has not filed a complaint, even the police can tell me that. If there is no case, how do you start? So for starters, you must report a case. And the issue of Bank of Uganda being far, I want to disagree. We are in Jinja, we are in Bale, we are in Gulu, Arua, Lira, Kabale, Masaka. All those are bank branches. You may not have to go to Kampala because you may fear the turnstiles. But ours here is just brick and mortar. You can come, you write a letter to the Executive Director Supervision, and your issue will reach the bank. We've handled cases where people are coming and saying, someone is taking my land, this bank is stealing my land. We ask you to write and present all your issues in your letter with attaching documents. And then we forward your letter. We don't actually tell you to take it. We forward your letter from here to Kampala. And the people in Kampala will contact you and handle your issue. So what I urge the public is make sure you put your request. We cannot start from social media plight where someone is screaming, saying they've stolen all my money. Once you submit that to the bank, then the bank will carry out investigations and they'll give you a report at the end of the day. So that's what I can say about issues of the public not having the attention of Bank of Uganda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Christine Birungi. I work with Kyle Bank Uganda as the head of marketing, comms and PR. Now, from what Teddy has submitted, I want to also inform you that Bank of Uganda should be the last resort. Last resort in terms of, one, they are not in a relationship with you. You've been in a relationship with Kyle Bank. You get me? So when you get a problem, the representatives of these banks, most of them have toll-free numbers or customer numbers. The first face of contact is you addressing this problem with the what? With the person you have a relationship with. So for us, Bank of Uganda being our regulator will be the last resort. When you think, actually some people go to court, court fails, then they will resort to Bank of Uganda. At the end of the day, Bank of Uganda comes back to us. So like Teddy has noted and given you the process, just for your information, the first contact should be between you and your what? And your bank. That's why sometimes we come out and say, we can't even speak to the public because this relationship, the person who is making noise, the relationship is between the bank and us. And we are not obliged to give their personal information or bank details to the public. So I encourage you from here, probably point to note, if you are banking in any of these institutions, ensure you have their toll-free numbers or their contact numbers. So when you have an issue, that issue should first be addressed. Bank of Uganda gets tired. You can imagine over 23 million. And all of us, we are running to what? To Bank of Uganda. So first address your issue with the bank. If it fails, then they are the last resort, Bank of Uganda or the court. So I just wanted to highlight that because I see now many of you will pass through us and you run to Bank of Uganda. Thank you.
Hey, take a shortcut.
Okay, so I think the message is clear that the Bank of Uganda is doing everything possible to ensure that your customer complaints are addressed. As a country, it is not good to remove a responsibility from one institution to another. If you feel that there are some challenges, it's best for that institution to look at their processes and keep enhancing them. So it's good that you've given that feedback. Bank of Uganda has picked it, and it's about continuing to improve on efficiency of the existing system. The other question was about ensuring against cyber crime. That is also something that the Bank of Uganda takes responsibility for, because they're always supervising the banks. And when they do their supervision, they're looking at the strength of the IT systems that are in place. And they keep advising the banks that probably there are loopholes here and there. So the banks have their own internal control systems. They have their own risk management systems. And the Bank of Uganda also keeps checking to ensure that those systems are working tight. Of course, you can't rule out that there can be a slippage here and there, but that is the cost of business, and the banks have to incur that extra cost that they would have to in case there is any loophole in the internal control. And just to emphasize that the DPF comes in at the point when the bank is closed. And that is how the country has segregated duties. At the point the bank is closed, DPF comes in. When the bank is operational, Bank of Uganda has a bigger responsibility. That's why they're the ones handling the customer complaints. They're the ones who go into the bank to see how strong is the risk management system, their IT infrastructure, their firewalls. Is it the modern firewall? And so it's good to maintain that segregation of duties and just keep improving on what we are supposed to do. The other one is Owen from DFCU Bank says we should consider increasing the insurance limit, and that is very important. Like my board chairman has said, we are looking into that because the core principles of deposit insurance that the chairman again alluded to require all of us to review that insurance limit every 5 years. We put this insurance limit at 10 million in 2019. So next year, we would have made the 5 years. We're going to review it and see if there's a possibility of increasing it. But when you're increasing a deposit insurance limit, there are so many things you have to balance out. You have to balance out the fact that we are in Uganda and we're operating within the East African community. So if, for example, we say we're going to increase our insurance limit to 100 million shillings, Uganda, just imagine what the disadvantage you're going to have for the other countries. Depositors now will start transferring their deposits into Uganda. And so it's very important when you're looking at your insurance limit to look at how it plays and make sure that you don't destabilize the regional balance that you have. The core principles also say through research and so on, say that it's good for a country to insure up to 3 or 4 times their GDP per capita. And at our insurance limit, we're insuring up to 4 times our GDP per capita, and that is considered adequate. Of course, when you're looking at insurance, you don't want to insure all the deposits. Why? Because you expose the financial sector to the risk of moral hazard. And that means that the bank managers, they're here, will take lots of risk, knowing that even if the bank closes, Uganda will pay the depositors. Taxpayers' money, what you're always paying to the government for taxes, will be used to pay the depositors. And that is what we don't want for deposit insurance. And also for you, the depositors, you'll start taking your money to any bank. And that's why the chairman was very clear that deposit insurance is mostly to protect the small, uninformed, unsophisticated depositor. But for you, most of you here are not small depositors, you are not unsophisticated, and you can get informed because there's a lot of credible information out there where you can learn about your institution. And I emphasize credible. Doesn't mean social media like Teddy is saying. You read something on social media and you say that's credible. No, go to their websites. They usually publish their financial statements. The Bank of Uganda always ensures that these financial institutions publish their statements in the newspapers. And I always say, don't get that section of the newspaper and use it for sigiri. First read and see how is my bank performing? Am I happy about the performance of my bank? And if you have any concerns, it's up to you to make a decision. No one forces you. I don't know whether anyone has been forced that open an account with this bank, otherwise you will die. No. It's a decision that you make, And because you have the ability to get information, get that information and put it in a bank that you're comfortable with. We have 33 banks operating. All those banks are strong, but you will never rule out that one could be weak. But you, the informed ones, are the ones supposed to be monitoring the performance of your banks so that you're not amongst those who have above 10 million and got trapped into a bank that was not performing. So very importantly, increasing the insurance limit is a good thing, but we think that it is adequate, but we shall look at it. Like the chairman said, we're covering 98% of the depositors in this country. And I want to add that 93% of those 98 have less than 1 million. It means that for you, if you are concerned about increasing the insurance limit, you have above. That means you must be better informed and make a better choices about where you deposit your money. Thank you very much.
Let me add, I want you to look at the economies. Japan Deposit Insurance Corporation, their cover deposit protection is 250 million. But the economy is very huge. And people are still complaining that that is little. America is 250,000 US dollars. When we increased to 10 million, Kenya was about the same level as ours. Their deposit protection is like 10 times more bigger than ours. And they also increased from 100,000 to 500,000 Kenya shillings. Although at that time, the Kenya shilling, rather the Uganda shilling was 1,000 Uganda shillings to the US dollar. If we had not done anything, let's put it, tilt it upside down. If we had not done anything, 3 million Uganda shillings today would be $800. Okay? But the 10 million today, how much is it? It is 2,700. So effectively, if we are looking at it in today's term, had we not changed, we have actually changed by about 3.5 times, 3.4 times. You can do the quick calculation and see. So relatively, we are doing well. There are so many other parameters, like the CEO has mentioned, that have been taken into account in you changing that. The teacher, Mwalim, where are you? You asked a very good question. You're a real teacher the way you talked. Where is she? She's gone. Huh? She's a typical teacher, but it's good. I love teachers. We're here because of teachers, and they had a lot of influence on us. Yes, banks do market, and you can't blame them for that, because one of their targets is to increase the deposits, which is okay. Just as much as the micro deposit institutions, the micro deposit taking institutions are doing the same together with the credit institutions. They want to maximize, and of course they invest that money, and they also make a return on that. But you, the customer, always, you are requested or you are expected to make good your obligations by paying for the loan on a monthly basis. Should you fail, I'm sure the banks are very, I bank with Standard Chartered, been with you for 40 years, something like, I'm very faithful, I've moved at all. But they always listen. If you have a problem and you go to them, say, look, the next 3 months I'm going to have a very problem, I may not pay you. Can you stay? I'm sure if you negotiate, they will understand. But if you keep quiet, what do you expect them to do? Definitely the other people in the market, they want that money also. But I wanted to leave you with one theory. Again, if I go on the other side of the coin, do you know the umbrella theory? Now, for those who don't know the umbrella theory, that some of these institutions give you an umbrella when it is shining. Okay, you can protect yourself from the hot sun. Now, when it starts raining, they take away that umbrella. So you always have to be ready to pay back. Should you fail, go and negotiate with the banks. Thank you. Cairo. I wish you on this side, you explain so well. Thank you so much.
For someone to say, we are being called, and you know, someone, I would turn it to a man whom you ask, so you got another woman, and the gentleman says, you know, the woman has been begging me. You should be able to make financial decisions depending on first your income, depending on your financial capability. You see, these banks, when they come, they make assessments. So if Stanbic tells you, we shall be able to give you are getting around 500, you should be able probably to qualify for a loan of 1 million. Why would another microfinance call you and you stretch above that? Because you've already had what? An assessment. So I will say it in Luganda, mwekwasa. Ate ba customers muli babi nnyo, mutulimba. So you lie Stanbic. By the way, some of you even forge securities. Bafanda abo bachimanyi. You forge securities. You forge securities. You lie Stanbic. They evaluate you and tell you, we are giving you what falls within. You know, when we are giving you a loan, we are very cognizant that 50% will go towards your normal things, and then the 50%, if you're a salary earner, will come to us. What happens? The teachers refuse. They go to Stanbic, pick another microfinance, pick another money lender, pick another, and then you come and say, we've given you calls to take these loans. I will say no. Please know your financial position before you come to the what? To the banks. I just wanted also to highlight that.
Feedback. I wanted to supplement on what the Chief Executive has spoken to in relation to DPF's interface with the customers and with the banks. So one of the projects, the key projects that DPF has implemented is a payout system. Now, for that payout system to effectively work, I think we are like at 90% now, but we are receiving a few glitches there that relate to completeness and accuracy of depositor information that is provided by the public and then is later processed by the banks. So from time to time, you'll interface with a team from DPF in relation to checking the completeness of the information that has been submitted for purposes of the depositor payout system. Why? Because in the event that a payout has to be effected, reliance will be very heavy on the data, and you don't want to pay one depositor twice or pay the wrong depositor. So part of the key obligations of the fund is to ensure that the depositor information, one, is complete, but that it is also accurate. So that will be the only interface when sometimes when the supervisor's BOU team comes, maybe they'll come along with a team from DPF, but DPF will only be restricted to ensuring and checking that the depositor information that they have, that banks are holding for a particular depositor, is complete and relevant to the payout system. Thank you.
There were 4 hands. Okay. Let's receive those questions. My team, please take note. Okay. And Exco.
Good morning, everyone. I am Johnson Mwanguzi Sowankambo. I work with Bisogan FM Radio as the chief news editor there. Before the chairman, board of directors got on the floor, I had fallen in love with your mission. As it is clearly stated, to foster public confidence through protection of depositors in institutions regulated by the Central Bank of Uganda. But when Patrick got on the floor, my moods went away.
Is that the case? Now I go away from the floor. Proceed.
As your mission is stated, Patrick said there is no room for complaints. But yet, your mission is to build the confidence in us, the depositors. I want you to tell me, where do you really think Ugandans or depositors will get confidence to continue saving their money with these financial institutions, which are stealing their money on a daily basis? Secondly, you said there is no room for complaint as the DPF. And the banks, we are seeing people on a daily basis running there to lodging their complaints about the stolen money, and no help has been offered. So where do you want these people to go to report those issues to? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. There's the one in front. Let's take the 4.
Thank you. Now I'm asking as an individual. Mine is to do with the securities. If I have an account, a CSD account, with my banker, and then the bank closed, what happens to that account? Where, if I have my 100 million in my CSD, what happens to that CSD account upon closure? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Intuyo Yakub, Treasurer Uganda Muslims Council. My question or my analysis is small. We have had a colleague from Cairo Bank trying to protecting the complaints from other colleagues. But my concern is small. You find that in Uganda now, even the government is struggling to uplift the livelihood and the income status of the many to a middle income status. But you find that according to analysis, most of the people in Uganda, you find that they don't understand the banking language. A case in point, you find that when you go in a bank, either you are looking for a loan, some people or somebody may not be given time to read through all the technical jargons of the bank. And at the end of it, that person accesses a loan. In the long run, you find that complaints come in the due course. But at the same time, you are saying that you are not having room for complaints, and yet there is a bigger gap on the ground where people do not have or do not access the technical jargons of the bank. How are we going to deal with such a scenario to see that people are having or are moving at the same rapport in terms of banking? Thank you very much.
Very organic question indeed. Then there was one last at the end there.
Thank you very much, Director of Programs. All protocols observed. Jonathan Batambuze is my name. I'm the branch manager, KCB Bank, Jinja. This is just to throw some light on the concern of the city inspector about the numerous calls that come through to engage teachers and other stakeholders to come and take monies from us. Now, one, banking has changed. Gone are the days when people would come to beg banks to do business. It is the other way around. So calling people to interest them in what we have is one of the ways in which we reach out to as many customers as possible. Either we come to you physically, we can use SMSs, we can use phones. Two, our customers make choices. Even if it is me and there are 20 women running after me, I have chosen to be with one, and that is it. So we kindly request that everybody takes a decision out of the many. Then, this is an offer to Madam Inspector. It comes out of the fact that not everybody understands money. Actually, it is painful that even bankers don't understand money. in terms of investment, in terms of spending, in terms of acquiring credit, and so on. So we are here. Give us a chance to provide financial literacy sessions to your people. Madam Inspector, I'm committing myself. We can do this free of charge at no cost. Okay? I'm saying this in the face of the cameras and everybody. Vana tuida kuida tubasomesa ensonga da sente kubwerere. My bankers are here. They can attest. We shall come and attend your meetings as civil servants. We shall come and attend the community bazaars and so on, so that we talk to people about how to handle money. Then lastly, let us not take credit out of emotion. Because my neighbor has taken a loan, I also want to take a loan, when actually I don't know what to use this money for. Whoever is taking a loan, take a loan to invest in a venture that gives a return. Do not take money to invest in a venture that has no return. Men, do not take a loan to marry a second wife for mukazi tazza sente. Thank you so much.
I think what we meant to say is that dealing and interfacing with depositors directly in terms of handling their complaints is not a mandate of the fund. The CEO has been very clear that for a system to work effectively, for government to work effectively, each one has their cake cut out for them, isn't it? Now, for us as DPF, let me just announce that in a subtle way, when we get issues about Bank X, that for instance, a depositor has sent to our email because they believe we are there to protect, it is not that we sit on it. What we do, we are a conduit. If it is about X, Y, Z, especially my office that handles communications, we pick it out and forward it to. So if it, I don't want to mention names, but the banks are here. This is just for example. If it is Equity or Centenary, whichever it is, some of the issues come and you see that this bank is specifically mentioned. Ours is to route it there. But we don't stop there. As comms, we also try and ensure, we are interested in seeing whether, one, the bank has picked up the matter. Of course, a good bank, having received the forwarded information, will know that they owe us a duty of an updating where has this matter reached. That's not resolving, because resolution is for the central bank. But it is not that every complaint that comes to us, we clog and sit on them. We facilitate that they go to the right place. These are the discussions going on. The issues of literacy being brought out here. How many of you actually pick loans for the reality of investment? Many of our people come packaged as investment. They tell you about a project, isn't it? But once the money has come, does it actually go there? There is the issue of you want to deny an African information, you put it in what? So now when you go to the bank, all you are left with is the last part. Sign here. Sign here. Sign here. So you sign 4 times. All you're interested in is getting the SMS that money has what? I think this is a discussion between both sides. There are obligations on the side of the banks. Sometimes the banks also, and many of the regulations for borrowing, the letters are smaller than font 12, isn't it? Because you want to squeeze them on one page. So they try to explain to you, but because, as he has said, you have gone to borrow for consumption, you have gone to solve a problem, all you're interested in is money to solve that problem. I think issues of financial literacy are coming up very clearly here. But my team is here. There are 1 or 2 issues that you may want to respond to. So the issue of complaints, I think it is clear. It has been mentioned. CEO, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much, Patrick. I think I'll call upon my colleague Yusuf to talk about CSD accounts and what happens. But I also wanted to explain how we contribute to confidence. And yet, like Patrick and all of us have said, we come in at the time when a bank is closed. So how does that help? So just imagine that your bank is closed. Unfortunately, it's closed. And you take 1 year to receive any money from that bank. How confident will you be about putting your money in another bank? Will you be so confident No. So that is, everybody is contributing to confidence from the Ministry of Finance. All their policies are intended to make the financial sector viable so that everybody is confident. Bank of Uganda is also doing its part to contribute to that confidence. My friend from Cairo Bank now, who is being almost victimized, is also doing the best she can to make sure people have confidence in her bank. So the DPF also comes in at that last stage to say that even if the worst happens, you should remain confident in the financial sector, and we pay you that protected deposit very fast. And my director, Roy, has explained how we have a system that we've put in place so that if your bank is closed, and if you've given us your NIN, you've given us an alternative mode of payment, you will not walk. You will get your money on your phone, or you'll get your money in an alternative bank account. And therefore, you'll be still confident that even if I put my money in another bank, if anything happens, I'll get my money very fast. So that is how the Deposit Protection Fund is contributing to confidence at the time when a bank is closed. And different organs of government are trying to contribute to that confidence through their various mandates. I hope I've been a little bit clear. Yes. Okay, let me call upon Yusuf, maybe to Yusuf and Angela. Whoever is more comfortable can talk about the CSD account.
Whoever has invested in treasury bonds with government is supposed to have a CSD account. CSD in full is a Central Securities Depository. So that account is actually a reflection of your holdings of those investments with government. Now, basically, there is no insurance or there is no protection for any investments with government. I don't know if I'm very clear. Whoever takes a risk of investing in government bonds or treasury bills and treasury bonds is taking a risk that doesn't have any insurance. That is a fact. And no one will ever insure. Imagine this is almost, we are going to almost 40 trillion of investments over the years. If you look at what government holds in terms of the bonds that they have actually collected from the investors, you see, you get a return from this, isn't it? And also the good thing about these investments is that they are guaranteed by the central bank. At any maturity date, you are guaranteed to get your money back. It's very rare that governments fail to pay. Of course, it has happened before. Like I heard in Ghana, people took what they call a haircut on their investments. But those are extreme macroeconomic conditions that lead into that. It's like government has issues, they fail to collect taxes, and then they fail to pay their obligations. But also one thing the members here that should know is that even the banks that you save your money with, almost 50% of their investments are in government securities. All the money you save with the NSSF, all the money you save with your pensions, whoever is pensionable here, all that money is saved in government securities. Now, those securities are almost safe. Safety means there is a confidence level of almost up to 99.9% that you'll get your money back at the time of maturity of those securities. So in summary, there's no protection or there's no insurance for CSD accounts that have opened, yes. But of course, in our lifetime, our government has never failed to pay securities. Yeah, and you see, government strikes a balance between fiscal discipline and monetary policy implementation. Now, they don't, if you look at how they're borrowing these days, they are very cautious in the market. They don't actually borrow so much like they used to do, because they're also reacting to the macroeconomic environment that they're operating in. Thank you so much.
Is it okay for me to submit my contacting? It's not in my names. Will you look into that, or strictly it has to be registered in my names? Because you're having challenges whereby customers are not having contact numbers registered in their names. And when it comes to refund as insurance, you look into all of that. That contact is not your names, and I may stand out to lose out on my refund. Thank you.
That when we open these accounts, there's supposed to be an alternate telco or bank.
Yeah.
But we have cases where the customers come, they don't have an alternate bank,
Mm-hmm.
and then the numbers are not registered in their names, and yet it's mandatory. I'm wondering if you're looking into another mode that you would use if, say, such a person dies, yeah, because there's an increase in unclaimed funds.
Okay.
Banka de twewolamu. Oida wewolamu banka ng'ogire mu group. Group eyo ya failinga. Iwe waida waba ng'osaswire. Banka eyo yaida ya kukoba nti olina okuleeta abantu abo. Meiremu ekuwole. Ayenga sometimes it has taken even 5 years. Mpera ne wa abantu abo olija banoonyawa me banka yesobola okwira mu okuwola. Ekyokubiri nenda kutegeera kwiza amanerenda. Kubanga bamanerenda bano tubawulire bangi nga batwala ebintu by'abantu, and who is responsible? Kubanga manerenda aida yakutoola ku ekintu yakutaako obukwakulizo ngaye tageti ye yakutwala kintu kyo. Aye ate nga ife abantu abawansi titufunye kulumuukirirwa.
Zena nja kwogera olulimi n'olulala kubanga bayidye wano twenda bayireyo nga bayidi nti wano waliwo olulimi lwawo. Amayina gange ninze numerozi nva mu Jinja Central Market. Ndi musuubuzi hardware department. Ekibuuzo kyange kiri nti tujja twewola nga abasuubuzi mu banka. Nandibaire ndowooza nti abantu bano ba loan officer batuyambe ekimala. Kuba okumugwa okutuwola looni ateekwa okuba nga yasoma. Mulimu abadubi abaida okwewola. Aye bw'otuuka aba ni foomu gyakukoba okusayiningako. Era egy'okudimandinga okwiza ki? Sente edo. W'otuuka akukoba ati sayininga wano, sayininga wano, sayininga wano. Nandibaire n'omukisa okusuubira nti abantu bano ba loan officer mutyama naye ekiseera ekiwera kubanga sente edo daakwiza. Sente edo olijja adikozesa otya? Ayo akukoba ati sayininga wano yandibaire niiwe yakukoba ati muna layini eno erikoba eti onaasobola otwale sente dino.
Like for a child, then time comes, a child reaches age, you can't access that money. They will tell you that now the bank system has worked on it, you can't access the money. So I was requesting they could give us a message so that we prepare in time, so that the child is ready to access that money. And in any case, the money is mine because I'm the one who deposits that money. So I need to know before you cross that account, because a child has no access to that money. It is mine because I bank it for school fees. Yes. I don't want the bank to tell me that you can't access this money because it's me who opened that account. You can't close it minus not knowing. Then another issue, is there a way when we are going to get loans, if we go to the bank, they give us those forms, we take them home, we read through, then after that, after understanding them very well, we go back and access the loan.
Not sign here, sign here.
Not sign here, sign here, because they take you for granted. Sometimes you are in a rush, you want that loan, so they will take that advance, sign here, sign there, sign without knowing what you are signing. Thank you so much.
The bankers are here, you're listening.
Thank you so much. I'm Birunji Angela. I also have a question, and I would love to know, you as Bank of Uganda, which disciplinary action can you take, maybe can you give to someone, most especially the money lenders, because we know they are under your sector. They have a tendency, they lend you money, they take your land agreement, they put conditions of how you're supposed to pay back, but they have a clique of people who sit around to monitor. Every time you want to bring the money, they hide. And as they continue hiding, the interest hikes. It reaches a situation when the interest is beyond and you cannot meet that loan. And when they disappear and the money accumulates, they will be the ones to start looking for you because they know you will not recover back the agreement, the fact that the money has accumulated. What disciplinary action are you putting forward as Bank of Uganda? Because we had these many cases and they are still continuing. We need you to take a disciplinary action to these money lenders such that they become a lesson to the others. Thank you.
I'm Busura Charles from Jinja Central Market. I'm as well the chairperson LC1 Church Salem. Mine is a concern.
Please, let's listen to the chair. LC1, there is a concern on the table.
Mine is a concern. I was shocked when I heard that teachers who went to school, they have no discipline when it comes to borrowing. I was very much shocked. You see, for us down there, we are dealing with people, some of them never saw even a blackboard. And we have a problem there. Families are broken because people have no discipline in borrowing. Somebody goes there. The other day I heard about 100 headed papers. In my area, there are 2 money lending institutions which opened up. Just 1 week, the secretary told me the papers are finished. I said, how? He told me, you see, there is the money lenders who have opened it up there. Ladies are going there. When I reached the market, I found there ladies in the market going also the other side, getting money. There is a big crisis here in Uganda now. You people who went to school, if you don't come down to educate our, especially ladies. Yes, for me, I have the experience. I'm the chairperson in LS1. I know what I'm doing. I'm in the market. I'm the one who has signed those papers. Banange, whatever what you call it, families are broken. Omukazi ajene yewole sente mu money lenders, mu banks, na abulawo. Nalikawo abana batano. Omusajja gwalekedde abana batano na abakazi aba. Ajja kwebakawa na watali mukazi. Era jagende eri omukyala yebakeyo. Please. You people who went to school, come down to the ground. Instill financial discipline to our people, our villagers. Thank you very much.
Zina ndakwogera mu Lusoga. Kubanga tuli Busoga banange. Ekisooka tujja kujja ku money lending. It has become an issue throughout ndowooza mu nsi yonna. Ba mu Busoga singa kuba kizibu. Omuntu ajja mu banka yagema ekyapa kiri ku Kawala Ruth aye ng'agiire ni musaada we for example. Banka yasitula sente ku kyapa kya Ruth yamuwa ki sente. Tebawuliriza gayina naki ni Kawala be bamuwa sente. So ono walemewe okusasula. Ojja kubona abantu kuyida kutwala ki okubabuuza nti kale bino byatandika li. Ate nga kubuuza nti muno omusaada wono omwidi ati yadda wakooti ekyapa kye yaleeta kiri mu mayina ge. Kiri mu mayina gange. Ate kyo kyatuuka kitya okumuwa sente ate anti musaada wo. I don't know how people are going to handle that issue. Kubanga kikulu, people's property are going in terms of spouses exchanging those collateral issues.
I'm called Aaron from Brock. Just one question. I don't know whether somebody spoke about it. Is there a way government of Uganda, I mean Bank of Uganda, is there a way Bank of Uganda going to monitor, because we are having issues with the online money lenders. Everyone who has a smartphone, I think you've already got those messages. You want a loan? You don't need anything to give. Just give your information or the number or the ID and you get a free loan. And these loans are going around. I don't know whether there is a monitoring system, but there are so many online loans that are going around, saturating. I don't know if Bank of Uganda is putting measures to curb that problem. Thank you.
Clarify on the issue of money lenders. They are regulated by UMRA, not Bank of Uganda. It's a tier 4, so it's regulated by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. And if you have an issue, the issue of the lady saying the money lenders disappear, you can actually go and deposit that money with them. But maybe one thing I want to clarify, there are people who are not gazetted money lenders, but they call themselves money lenders. But they're not money lenders per se. Okay, they lend money, which qualifies as money lender. But a money lender must be regulated. They must have a certificate, a license. You do due diligence. Don't just go like he's saying to someone because they say those people lend money and you start. Let's be more advised. We have even banks. Of course, we can't. Money lenders are faster, like they say, but you also weigh the options. Don't just run and say, oh, this one will give me money in 1 hour. Fine, it goes 1 hour, but then you might pay through your nose. So let's just be vigilant. Thank you.
Okay, tugenda kuddamu ku bibuuzo naddala ebyavudde mu bakyala ab'omu katale bali. Ekisooka ba money lenders. Money lender Bank of Uganda ekizzeemu. Ebazzeemu bulungi. Kakati ba customers. Nja kukozesa kintu kya ba customers. Mugenda tusonyiwa. Mu banks mu Uganda babagambye ziri meka eziri regulated by Bank of Uganda. Ziri 33. Naye nga MC watugambye mmwe abakola decision kati banks zino ezisinga mweziri wano buli kitundu kyogenda bank ekola ki ebeera regulated kati bw'osalawo n'ogenda ewa money lender oyina kukaaba mpola kubanga Bank of Uganda ekugambye foono gwe tukola ki gwe turegulatinga. N'olwekyo ekyo ngenda kubalekera kubanga it's your financial what decision you choose n'ogamba nze kangende wa money lender ajja kunnyanguyiza kati era batera tugamba easy come so bw'okwata ekyapa kyo kya $2,000,000 nga tokivaluwinze n'okiwa money lender nga toyina gy'ogenda kuleekaanira you let it what but bottom line you have to pay. Okay. So money lender who is responsible Bank of Uganda ekizzeemu balonzi officer olumu nga banks tuyina kye tuyita code of conduct era ne DPF mugirabye tuyina ebintu ebyo bye tuyina. There is a way we are supposed to conduct ourselves as we serve you. Okay. Tuyina engeri gye tulina okweyisaamu era bw'otusanga otegererawo nti ono banka. For starters, our dress code, the way we speak, the way we interact, probably socially. Era bw'osanga muntu oli anywedde omwenge banka n'agwa oyo aba munywi nnyo. N'olwekyo bano be baana be mutuwa. Okay? Bano baana bammwe not so? Kakati abaana abo nammwe kirina okugwewa mmwe okubayigiriza code of what? Naye ffe tugezaako. Sisobola kugamba nti fenna tuli bwe tutyo kubanga nze sina customer gwe nalindabye nga ntamidde. Naye lwaki bank onajja mu kiseera ekyo nga atamidde olwo baamugambye nti gw'obanja atera okuyingira wano ssaawa 5 mumpulira yeekwesa olunaku lulamba waliwo teacher gwe baanoonya teacher ne yeekweka ne babakubira essimu nga teacher ali mu kibiina njagala bagamba teacher yalaba emmotoka ya banka yafubutuka n'abuuka mu ddinisa bw'atyo n'adduka. Muntegeera character yo borrower yeeforcing omuntu ono omuleetera mu character eyo gy'akola ki. Bameka wana basasula obulungi ne tujja nga tuli bubi nga tuli mu mbeera eyo twali tubakubiddeko nga musasula bulungi. So weewola kola ki we biba biganye loans office oyo aba yakuwa ssente omumanyi kwata ennamba y'essimu omukole ki omugambe leero biganye mutukoze tutya nguminkirizaako naye mudduka ne mwekweka. So ekya code of conduct oli waddembe okukwata ne ka video ebiro bino ebintu bikoze eki byalongosebwamu loans officer mukwate because we have a code of conduct era bank emugamba you were out of code of conduct. Ekyo kimugobya. Naye nammwe mulekeraawo okwekweka. Ne tujja ne tubanoonya ekiro ssaawa 5. Kubanga muba mututte ssente z'abano ababadde basasula obulungi abaleese okusevinga nga muzitutte. Kyetuva tujja ku ssaawa ki ezo, ekyo nkigize. Naye waliwo ayogeddeko nti loans officers tebatuyitiramu bulungi. Kambanyumize leero Bank of Uganda eyo etuwa tuyina etteeka erya consumer protection what bankers balimanyi. Oli waddembe okugamba nze no form sigitegedde, mpe ebipapula byange mbitwale babimpitiremu. By the way, you have that mandate, you have the right. Tosayininga byotakola ki. Ate tetwagala mwekwasa n'okwekwasa mwabiwandiise mu luzungu. Mu bipapula ebyo bye muwandiika tuyinamu akakwakkulizo akagamba nti byosayiniza obisayiniza obikola ki obite. N'olwekyo oba tobitegeera tosayininga. Kwata ebipapula. Nze ndabye bamaama nga tebaasoma najja ne muwala we n'amugamba nnyinnyonnyola. Naye chairman kye yayogeddeko mupapa nga mwagala ki mupapa oziteekako diziteekeko leta nsayininge. Take your time. Kwata ebipapula ebyo bitwale babikole ki babikuyitiremu. It's your mandate. Ne loans office oyinza omugamba nja komawo ku Friday. By the way, bana bafuna loan ennene million 2 3 1 billion. They even come with their lawyers. Oli waddembe ogenda okugamba lawyer jangu tugende nina bye ngendo signing ankole ki mbitegeere bulungi. Woba ogenda okutunda ettaka teweetegereza. Temwetegereza. Katwaki mujofuna loan temwetegereza. Buli document gy'oteekako omukono gwo si kutunda ttaka lyokka, si kwewola. Kola ki? Weetegereze kubanga oyinza okukeera nga bakutunze. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Security. She talked about security. Mbagambye ba customers, some of you are unfair. You lie to us. So she's talking about a security where the man presented probably another woman. For me, that's how I took it. So at the time of giving this man a loan, the man presented another what? Woman who is birungi, not me. Now, you see, a title of another different name, you must get powers, not so bankers. You must get what? You must get powers. So, situanti waliyo bank, bojango oli birungi Christine, nendeta echapa cha my dad Henry Chiza, ne bagamba Christine katukuwechi? Wanje? Twetegeera.
Okay.
Yeah. Then last is the signature. She's talking about the signature. Muntandikwa nabagambye nti relationship eba y'abantu bameka we mujjanga muli basatu account eyo.
I heard there were some questions I noted and my team Angela and Yusuf should be able to answer. The issue about the telephone number not being in your name, what happens, and then if you have a loan, what happens? Do you survive paying that loan? And then Angela will help us. Someone asked about what about if you die? How do I access that money? And also Angela can help about minors and how those accounts are closed, how accounts are closed generally. Maybe just those 4 questions and then we can proceed. Yes.
Now, what we are trying to do, of course, with Bank of Uganda is that we are going to ask depositors to sign somewhere that they can offer a number that is not in their names. And that whatever they agree to is, they want to agree that I provided a number in the names of Angela. In case this bank closes, please pay Angela. And they sign to that. Now, once you give out that number that is not in your names, there are terms and conditions you've agreed to. You've agreed to the fact that you want Angela to receive the money on your behalf because you don't have a telephone number. And I don't know what kind of risk you are taking. So what we are trying to tell the CIs to do is to encourage customers to get numbers that are in their names, such that they don't actually get problems at the time of a payout. Hope that. But of course, if you feel you don't have a number, we are going to work with Bank of Uganda and the CIs to provide a section for you in the account opening form that you agree that this number I'm providing is the number you should pay my funds to in case this bank closes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. It is important to note that when we ask for your details are updated because they reflect who you are. So if you say that you are going to be paid in someone else's name, who do you want to be paid? Then you also have an issue, and that is why the fund says update, update, update. Ebiwandiiko byammwe ebiri mu banka buli lunaku bwe mugendayo banka bwekuyita bwekugamba nti nno jangu okebera ebipapula byo essimu zo zeezo kyekikwogerako kyekyo mugende nga mu banka mubawe ebifaanizo ebibakwatako. Bw'oba wakyusa essimu bagambe endangamuntu yeekwogerako ne mu gavumenti. Mpuliddeyo aboogera ekintu ekigamba nti nno ndangamuntu yange tugiteekayo neneewola ssente. Ndangamuntu newankubadde ogikutte mu ngalo, ekyo kiwandiiko kya gavumenti si kikyo, era n'ekitongole kikwatagana n'ebiwandiiko ebyo kyabagamba temukwatanga biwandiiko ebyo ne mubiwa abantu abalala. Ekyo ekiwandiiko kisigala nga kya gavumenti newankubadde kikwogerako. Ne passport kyekimu. Oyinza okugamba nti passport yange eri mu mannya gange naye ya gavumenti, era gavumenti bwe kiwulira nga kisaanidde eyinza okukikukola ki okukikujjako. Kakati nzikirize nga tegatte ennimi wano. Abakyabaze nga mujja kunsonyiwa naye manyi nti mumpulira. The issue of death. Bw'oba ofudde, what happens when you die? There's a process that happens that you have to get letters of administration or probate. And the encouragement is that before you die, write issues that relate to you. Write a will. Explain. There are some people who do not know. You may have your bank account. You keep it. Your family members do not know that you have a bank account. They do not know the particulars, which bank, where you have banked your money. And it becomes a challenge to the family. But when you write, this is another story on will writing, but keep your information in a way that other people can get to know and follow through. Because when you walk to the bank, the bankers are here. They'll ask you, where is that authority? By either a letters of administration or probate, if you have written a will, then that allows you to access the properties of someone who has died. Banange mwewandiikeko mweyogereko ebintu ebikwatagana n'ebintu byammwe. Muwandiike amalaame, muteekemu ensonga zammwe ezibakwatako, mukiteresa abantu be musuubira nti nno bajja kusobola okutambuza ebintu byammwe oba okwogera ku kintu ekikwatagana n'ebintu byo. So temubeera na account zammwe ne musirika nazo, mugambe abantu abalala, mubiteeke mu buwandiike, abantu bafune we batandikira okugoba essente zammwe n'ebibakwatako. The issue of minors, abaana abato. The minors, when they come of age, the accounts now change to them. So you need to work with the bank to ensure that you migrate the account from a trust account into the individual's account, so that you know that your child, when they hit 18, they become of age. So they should be able to manage their own account. Work with the bank and they transfer that account from a minor's account into a trust, from a trust account into the person's account. So when muina account z'abaana abato nga mugenda mukuŋŋaanya ssente ku lw'abaana abo, bwe bakula mugende muddeeyo mu banka ekyuse zive mu mannya g'omwana nti gw'oteekayo ssente bakiteeke mu mannya g'oyo omuntu already eri mu mannya ge, naye obuyinza babukyuse buve mu buyinza gwe wookutte babuwe oyo omwana ng'akuze asobole okwetambuliza ebintu bye. Mwebale nnyo.
My name is Musa Magomba Chirikolache, the councillor Jinja District Law Government, representing Bwentown Council. Mine, in fact, it has been reacted by the CEO and the chairperson, but they didn't reach the gist which I wanted. It was presented by one of the bankers. He talked about the Vistla and the circles. Also, they are having a huge amount of money. Is it possible for them to deposit with the DPF? Because they can receive that money annually. They can fix their subscriptions. And in most cases, for us, when we are down there, we are challenged in the process of keeping their money. They at times just keep in the pot. At the end of the day, either one of the relatives can run away the whole package by the time of giving out annually when they have nothing completely. Then we are having also farmers. I'm talking to Jinja. We are having sugarcane growers. They can as well also get their money.
They keep their money together also?
Yes.
In pots?
Just in pots.
With the banks around?
No, they can't, in fact,
Okay.
they can't trust the banks.
So the issue of savings groups and their
can't.
monies. Your question is
So-
whether they can bring them to DPF.
At least they can bring to DPF
Okay, my
so that it
CEO,
can be
they are
kept.
safe. Okay.
And what is the process to enroll?
For them to bring their money to DPF.
Yes, for them to bring their money to DPF.
Thank you for that. I think that is very straight. He speaks for his people.
Rita, Joseph Ikona is my name. I also work with Jinja District Local Government. Mine is just one because the rest have been actually answered. In the case, mine goes actually to the financial institutions, in the bracket banks. In the case I took a loan, and the time for paying back, for example, elapsed without completing, and I have issues, for example, between me and the bank that gave me the money. In the case I needed, for example, a bank statement to see exactly how I've been running my account, am I entitled to it or not?
That one I can answer. Yes, in capital letters.
Rasul Shaban, Mackay University Business School. Thank you for the invitation to this workshop.
Welcome.
My concern is about the CSD account, which was said to be risk-free. Actually, that's true. But there was some reports that some bonds were rescheduled or extended by the central bank a few months ago. Was there an element of risk? Why was this extended?
What informed the extension?
What informed the extension? Was it a risk internally or is from external? And if it's a risk, as we purported, it's risk-free, do we need a deposit protection fund from the higher end of the central bank or at the international level to cover? Because now we have levels of banking, commercial, central. Otherwise, most of my questions were addressed in respect to how risky they are. It's confirmed they are risk-free.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the sophisticated depositors, I'm tempted to say, they are likely to have 10 million, which is coverable by DPF, and then the other excess will be deposited because that CSD account is quote-unquote a deposit in the long term. So that you have spread your safe.
Yes.
Thank you. We are here, and on a networking note, I welcome you to MOBS to join the financial literacy struggle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Nansamba Beatrice, Deputy Headmistress, Spire Road School, and I also happen to be the Vice Chairperson, Jinja Teachers Circle. We are members of DPF. We subscribe. we have a challenge, especially with the microfinances. When they give loans, they put a standing order. If the loan was for 2 years to be covered, they put a standing order for 4 years. Now what happens is this: after you have recovered the money, because the code still is reflected on the pay slip, the money will continue going to their account. And teachers have fallen prey of this. Recovering that money is next to impossible.
Recovering what they've already cut post
Yes.
the period.
Yes. And what happens is, when they come to our schools to get audience of the teachers, the one teacher that fell victim has soiled the whole staff of 30. So let us try to be genuine, so that if the loan is ending after 2 years, it should be that. As a teachers' circle, we have been trying to buy off the loans of such teachers. Unfortunately, of late, our savings and deductions are delayed somehow, and we can't afford to do that. So we are pleading to the microfinance to be genuine. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that appeal.
By the name Emmanuel Bwapo. I have one question that goes direct to the fund. As stated earlier on, one of the role of the fund is to provide or contribute to the financial stability through public awareness. However, as the questions that have been given from the beginning of the question and answer, it seems to be like the fund would need to do mass awareness on the roles of the DPF. The reason I brought this is we have, in quotes, the unsophisticated depositors. However, of us who are here, we can get to know of what is happening in the financial sector. I have my 90 million, I can go and withdraw my 80, the 10 the DPF can pay. What about that farmer down there in Budondo? What is the fund doing to enhance this information to this depositor down there in the village who is unable to access the information that we are having right now here? Not all of us will be able to reach down to the lower level. So my ask is, what is the fund doing to ensure that this same information us who are gathered here today have got will be provided to that who is literally the unsophisticated depositor? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Margaret Kisa, and I'm hailing from St. Andrew's Church, Jinja. I happen to be a school teacher, a retired teacher, and now a business leader and entrepreneur practicing. I've enjoyed this session. I've liked the fact that we've brought together the banking section with the consumers.
Yes.
We can't say the same words, but we have struck some ground today, and I want us to clap for ourselves here today. Yes, at least several of us are going back with some answered questions, whether you want it or not. Now, I want to plead for you who are here, at least those who have been invited. Forget the bankers. Now we are for us. We go back and sensitize our friends on how to manage money matters.
Yeah.
It's about managing.
Yeah.
You will never be given enough. They want money, you need money. You go and have 10 children. Who produces 6 children now? How will you keep them in school? How will you feed 8 children today, in this day and age? How much do you earn? You are feeding 8 children today, the man will run away. the man will run away from you, goes to, and starts a smaller family. Tujja byogerako olulala. Nze maliriza nga nebaza nnyo onoosomesa otya abaana 8 balwadde bonna obajjanjabe amalwaliro galinnya buli lunaku emmere balidde ki accommodation. I mean, onozimba dde ennyumba. You are still educating children. You are going to be stuck in poverty. Bane twekole ki? Twebereremu. Don't blame these bankers. They want to make money. And be informed. Bane tuyambe tusomesa abantu how to manage money. From St. Andrew's Church, twekolamu omulimu tusomesa abakyala from time to time. Kale namwe mukatali mwekolemu omulimu musomesa mu group mwennyini. We have a group of women. We have a revolving fund. Before you take the money, you need to be informed and educated on how to manage that money or to make good use of it. Stop blaming people. Be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, that would be a very nice note on which to wrap the day, isn't it? Practical issues, practical answers. And I think I don't want to lower it any lower. I just want, with your indulgence, I'm interested in my officers. You have been very keenly listening. Can I have a microphone walk to one of you? I know your code of ethics is that you listen, you take in, but one of my officers there, they know their hierarchy. I cannot point. Surely the audience would want to hear. You have heard all these things, money lender, this, account that. It would be nice to hear what your view is. And then I move to answering the questions and we wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Afande.
Thank you. Once again, I go by the names of Superintendent of Police, Ofono James. I'm a regional league officer attached to Chira region. I think a lot has been said, but first of all, one of my observations is at least I'd never heard of the fund. And I think I also looked at its establishment, what it does under the FIA. But I think this is my observation as me. I think we need a substantive law for the DPF, a substantive, other than having these few sections within the FIA. I think the scope that these sections cover, I think it's still a bit limited, and we need to make it a bit large or cover certain aspects that it may arise. I think on the issue of money lenders, it's a problem. They've taken advantage of the unsuspecting members of the community. But much as we would blame them, it also comes back to the borrowers themselves. If indeed you need money, yes, we all need money. You've gone to a money lender. And like it has been said, that money lender should be one who's licensed to operate a business of money lending. So does any of you, before you even look for money, ask that money lender, are you licensed? You see, people have offices. Yes, someone has where he's operating on a veranda or an office. But we, the people, do not take time to find out. And at the end of the day, someone would level an interest rate of even 21%, 25%. You see, you don't have to ask, but that's what comes back to us, madam. At the end of the day, you will come to police. And that is the reality.
Thank you.
And you see, at times, once a transaction has already taken place, that is a civil matter.
Yes.
But at times, you come in on humanitarian grounds. Somebody comes crying, and we receive many of them. But at times, we need to do due diligence on where you're going to borrow from.
Thank you.
You see, the problem, yes, the problem will be genuine, but at the end of the day, you will again suffer more than you're already suffering. Because me, I will not go back, I will not come and help you, but I will only advise you. Once it is civil, that is out of our mandate.
Mandate, yes.
I will only advise you, and that's what we do, because I've had very many of them. And it is also illegal for you to deposit your national ID with a money lender. Under, is it section 77 of the Registration of Persons Act, it is also illegal for you to, actually, I don't know if I will. It's an offense if you deprive somebody of their national ID. Because tomorrow you're deprived of the national ID, I meet you, I ask you, can you identify yourself? that is government property. Actually, there was a recent case, I think by a ruling by Justice Sekana on that, on the issue of depositing national IDs, passports. I've only failed to get it, but there's a ruling on that. It was somebody had deposited
Yes,
money
I-
lenders.
yes, yes.
But the problem is our people do not have information.
Okay. Thank you.
No, it's not about being poor, madam. It's not about being poor. At times you need to take time. It's not about when you tune a radio, you're supposed to tune where there's music or what. What matters at times is the information you're getting from a radio or anywhere you go. Being aware of what's happening within your community and surrounding. Because at the end of the day, this all comes back to us.
Yeah.
People will always believe, and indeed it is true, they believe we have solutions to all their problems. Which at times is not true.
Thank you, Afande. I think you have.
I thank you.
Yes.
And I wish you all the best.
Information. On my part, CEO, very quickly, the question on what are we doing to reach the people on the ground. That is precisely why I am paid a salary. I am a director of communications, and we cluster the public according to different sectors. So we have a well laid out communication strategy approved by the board. This is just one cluster of our stakeholders we are meeting. As we go ahead, we are translating messages to local languages. We are reaching those people who are once using the channels that they best appreciate. They listen to radio while they're in their garden, isn't it? The thing is hanging here. It is both a radio, at night it is a torch, it is everything in one. But I don't care what it is called as long as we can reach you. So there are different channels using their community meetings and the placards and the posters. So it is a step at a time. And we have a target that the board has given us. By 2027, we should have a public awareness level of a certain percentage. So that only requires that different categories. I've already mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, that one key stakeholder group are the forces, for instance. As we are talking here, I've realized that because you already have very structured, systems, it may be easy for us to come to their funding. He mentioned that before today, did he know about DPF? Now he's a lawyer, he's with the stars. What about my cousin who is a... So there is need for information everywhere. Chair, I have just gotten my job reconfirmed, sir. I have work to do.
Comment on the councillor's issue. You want to bring the money to Deposit Protection Fund. I would want maybe Christine to answer that. But Deposit Protection Fund does not take deposits directly from customers. The institutions are the ones mandated to do that. You have financial institutions, which are banks, you have micro deposit taking institutions, and you have credit taking institutions. Then you have maybe also your SACCOs, which again also do bank and do the investments. But for us, we mentioned 3 categories which we are interested in, which are regulated by the Central Bank of Uganda, where you deposit your money. And there's prudential regulation, okay? We protect you just in the unlikely event that a bank fails and is closed, which is very rare. If a bank is closed, we guarantee that within 7 days, we'll pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. But we don't open to the public or open branches to take deposits. Then we'll be taking the job of the financial institutions, which would be unfair. That is not right. So the police officer, the officer has described, there are various structures, as he said. We also have our job cut out, but one of them is not to take deposits. So if you want to deposit your money, go to the financial institutions, go to the MDIs, and maybe credit institutions. Or among yourselves, you make a circle, but still you have to get a bank which has to keep that money. Okay, the other one, my land officer, I like you very much. You explained so many things so well. It's a pity you almost went without at least educating us on many issues. I have learned that I cannot give my ID to anybody. It is illegal. Now I will protect it like crazy. The substantive law, maybe Angela should have answered that, but we are working on it. It's almost ready. And we have gone through all the structures, even up to parliament level. There is what you call it, regulatory impact assessment. We've done all that. So we are almost there. But in the meantime, because those 4 sections are not adequate, we have a whole booklet. If you go now, again, Google, you ask for DPF regulations. We have regulations which supplement those 4 laws. So in the meantime, that's how we are operating. But yes, I agree with you. We need a substantive law. And we'll get there, but it takes time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, and now we're clear that the Deposit Protection Fund does not take deposits. But like the Chair said, and what we always encourage circles is that collect that money and take it to a bank. Now you have also heard that know your bank. So the circle should arrange to have someone to study the banks, because you don't need a lot of knowledge to be able to study the financial performance of the banks. You just need a graduate probably who has done some financial management to give you advice. Maybe pay them 500,000. We have a lot of graduates on the streets. 500,000, they look at the banks and advise you on the best bank for you, because definitely that bank would be better than putting it in a pot. Then the chairman disappears with the pot of money. Where will you, there'll be no recourse for you, yeah? So that's what we're encouraging, the Village Savings and Loans Association, circles, and so on. All the groups, like my sister has said, go back to all the groups and encourage them to take their money to institutions that are regulated, and to have someone to advise them on what they think is a good institution to bank with. There was a question on sovereign debt, that is the CSD, and having some sort of insurance. Now that is debt of Uganda as a country. Now usually countries, if they get stuck, that's how they have the World Bank, the IMF, they go for that borrowing to be able to manage the cash flow or the strain that they're experiencing. So that is how Uganda, since we got independence and since we started issuing, we have never defaulted on any of those, because there is sort of like an insurance, which is not deposit protection insurance, but there is always a framework within the global economy to assist countries that are struggling. Thank you.
My name is Emmanuel Kalema Musoke. Ayebana tusangaine okubabona kodeyobana. On behalf of our DPF in general, and our chairman in particular, and the CEO, allow me to express our appreciation for accepting our special invite, which you have responded to with the purpose of sensitizing this town hall engagement with all of you people of Busoga area about the role and the function of DPF. We have interchanged. I think we have learned a lot both ways. The ideas you've given us, we shall internalize them as time goes on, and those which need higher level of concern, we shall express and they will be attended to. We intend in this endeavor to reach out to the whole public of Uganda to interface on the role and the importance of DPF in the financial sector stability. What we need, once the financial sector is stable, people can save, people can know for sure that a willing buyer has a willing seller, so a willing borrower we should accept a willing lender at equal terms when they understand or she understands what kind of engagement they are going to. Now, for the DPF, I want to summarize by saying that this Deposit Protection Fund has a structure in place which comprises mainly of the board of directors headed by our chairman, Patrick Agoro, Then followed by the management, which is headed by our CEO, Chief Executive Officer, if you've seen them, and staff. Staff is those who run day-to-day operations. For the board, where we have 7 board members, it is a policy-making body mainly, as I said, headed by the chairman who made the presentation here in the morning, Mr. Patrick Kagoro, whom you've seen. And please give him a clap because he made a brilliant presentation. Management is headed by our CEO, Dr. Julia Olima Oyet. The others, the members who are on management, who are employed by DPF, if they are here, please, can you stand up for special recognition? Members of staff and DPF. Yeah. The mandate of DPF, as has been presented, because this is a wrap-up, this is a summary, is to grow the fund. One of the mandates is we want to grow the fund, which we inherited from Bank of Uganda, but now we work together in Bank of Uganda, and we report to the Ministry of Finance, because we are comrades in arms to ensure that we contribute to the financial sector stability, so that our shilling is stable and can be relied upon. We have endeavored, since we took over our office in 2017, there's about 6 years or 7, we got this fund when the value of the fund was about 400 billion. 5 years down the road, we reached 1 trillion shillings, and now 2023, we are over the trillion. So we can see we are on steady, they used to call steady progress. So and our strategy has been that what we've been using, that whatever we do, we work as a team, and we know to exercise professionalism. And above all, whatever we do as regards DPF, or Deposit Protection Fund, in our management and the directorship portfolio, we pray, we plan, and work. That is very, very important for us to register the success we have. You've had brilliant presentations and interventions from members who are at various levels, the board, the management, and even the staff. You've had our friends intervening to express some of these ideas and issues, but they are anchoring on money. Money is dicey, it's like water. If water, it can rain and you get a lot of water, but if it shines and you didn't tap that water, it will disappear. So you must handle money in a very delicate manner, because it can escape from you and go somewhere. So you need to handle it professionally. As I said, the board is a policy-making body headed by our chairman, as I've told you, and we have made some progress. And indeed, we are very happy as a board. When we made those contributions, the Minister of Finance, who is our boss, unanimously gave us another term of office of 5 years. Our mandate is 5 years as a board, and on successful performance, we are entitled to another 5 years. So we were all given another term of office, which will expire in 2027. So I think we thank you, board members and management, because we all work as a team. It cannot go success, we not to go to one cluster or to one group of either directors or management or staff. We work as a team. That is another important area, that if you want to succeed, please work with the people. If you want to get tired, okay, walk or run alone. But if you want to go far, work with the people, because everybody can contribute to the same stroke, as long as you are working and moving in the same direction. So, in summary, I could say that a lot has been discussed. We've enjoyed your ideas. You've internalized some of these issues. We shall continue when we meet in our boardroom and discuss which pertinent issues we need to to handle or to address or to report to the higher authorities for further consideration. Advice, or in summary, ladies and gentlemen, since we've been intervening since morning, I can see some people want to either to go back to work or have something as the DPF normally does. So, in summary, please keep your deposits in a regulated institution, because we've discussed a lot about money. You are advised to keep your money or your deposits in a regulated institution. 2, regularly update your personal bank details. So when you go to the bank, a bank should be your friend, your visit. You visit it regularly or when there is, opportunity. And the interface with the bank managers or those who are responsible to handle your account. And please avoid, if possible, information that can cause the destabilization of your money in general and the financial sector in particular, because you all want to work together and grow the fund and grow the economy, and we shall all be happy if we work together. So please, we advise you to support the fund, and after Jinja or after Busoga area, I'm sure another program we shall go up country. We are determined and committed to enrich, to educate our people so that they appreciate the importance of keeping and growing money in an orderly, organized, and focused manner. God bless you.
Usoga tebekere